Welcome to Rick G's Marketing Masters ABQ, smart marketing for small business owners that actually works. If you weren't able to make it to our live lunch meeting, which we do every month on the third Wednesday of the month, you're in the right place. You can catch up with the content right here on this webinar. Or if you want to review the material, you're also in the right place. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you how you can get the most value out of this training. Number one, pay more attention to the content than the style. This is not a fancy webinar. It's a simple PowerPoint plus the sound of my voice. Also, I'm not planning to do any editing to this recording. So it's live in that manner, so to speak. So if I screw up, stumble on a word, go to the wrong slide, you'll probably see that here. But this makes it easier for me to do this for you. And besides, it's real. And I want to keep it real for you. Okay, number two, block out all your distractions. Turn off your cell phone, close down your email and your Facebook. You know, multitasking is a myth. If you focus on this material for the short time that we're together here, you'll get out of it what you put into it. And if you put in your full attention, you'll get a lot out of it. I guarantee you that. Number three, follow along and take notes in your Marketing Masters Action Guide. I've provided you with a fill-in-the-blanks action guide, so print it out, take notes on it. If you haven't done that already, pause this video, print it out, or grab a notebook and plan to take some notes. Number four, treat the lesson as a buffet or a menu. Not every single strategy that I share with you is going to be a perfect fit for your business or your situation at this time. So pick and choose the strategies to implement. And number five, we talked about implementation. Well, you got to take action. This is not meant to be intellectual fodder. It's meant to provide you with some ideas that you can implement and test and get some results from. Okay, without further ado, let's get this party started. This month's lesson, how to avoid BSO, bright, shiny object syndrome. 7 evergreen marketing strategies that any business can profit from. But before we get started, let's do a quick review of last month's lesson. We always do this at our live lunch meetings, and we're going to do it on these webinars too. Now, why is that? Well, remember when I said how important it is to take action? This short review is a reminder to do just that. So last month's lesson was 13 guerrilla marketing strategies for small biz. And here's a low-cost or no-cost marketing strategy from one of our members, Martha Taylor of Albuquerque Florist. Albuquerque Florist is an FTD shop, and that means that people across the country can order from FTD and have the flowers delivered locally by Albuquerque Florist. And when that happens, they don't get any information on the sender, but they do get all the pertinent information on the recipient. So the low-cost or no-cost guerrilla marketing strategy that Martha came up with was to contact the recipient after the delivery via phone or email and find out, hey, were you satisfied? Were you happy with your flowers? Now, that creates goodwill, but it also creates an opportunity for additional sales because someone who has received flowers could also be a good prospect to send someone flowers. Okay, so that's our review. Let's move on to this month's topic. What is a BSO? A BSO stands for Bright Shiny Object, which is a new idea, technique, or gadget that distracts you from the bigger picture instead of remaining focused on your goal. And this loss of focus can cost you hundreds of hours a year in lost productivity, lost time, and most importantly, lost dollars. So what we want to focus on instead is 7 evergreen marketing strategies that any business can profit from. And these are bedrock strategies that never go out of style. They work for any type of business. They work whether you're selling to consumers, B2C, or if you're selling to other businesses, B2B. They work online, offline, or a combination of the two. And the bottom line is they're not fads that fade away. So evergreen marketing strategy number 1, don't try to be everything to everybody. I mean, why talk to anybody when you can sell to somebody? I run into this all the time when I'm out networking or talking with business owners. I'll ask them, hey, who's a good prospect for you? Who do you serve? What is your target market? And invariably, what I'll hear, and not every time, of course, but quite often, is some variation of, well, I'll sell to anyone who has a pulse and a few bucks in their pocket. Now, they never put it quite like that, but in effect, that's really what they're saying. But the reality is, if what you're selling is for everybody, it's really for nobody. So we all need to figure out how to narrow our focus and find a smaller group of people we can serve and reach out to. Now, let me give you an example. I was at my friend Ron Patel's Synergy Networking lunch recently, and usually toward the end of that meeting, Ron has us break up into small groups of 3, and we interview each other to learn more about our businesses. But what we're really trying to find out is what is an ideal customer for your business so that we can share that with the rest of the people in the room. Well, the group I was in included a lovely young woman who represents a payroll company, and they handle all the payroll stuff for their clients, for other businesses. Now, in her case, her company allows her to sell to small businesses with between 1 and 99 employees. They do have other reps who handle the companies with 100 or more employees, but her job is the 1 to 99 range. But 1 to 99 employees is still a pretty wide range, isn't it? I'm sure you'll agree that a company with 1 or 2 employees is a lot different than a company with 99 employees, or 50, or even 10 to 15, right? They all have different situations, different problems, so they need different solutions. So I asked this young lady if she could maybe try to narrow it down a little bit. I said, what is a sweet spot that you found that is a smaller target than 1 to 99? So she thought about that for a second, and she said, okay, well, a company with 10 to 30 employees that processes payroll weekly is a better prospect for me than a tiny company with a couple of employees who get paid twice a month. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I asked her a follow-up question. Great. Now, among the companies that have 10 to 30 employees who get paid every week, have you noticed any particular types of businesses that are a sweet spot within that sweet spot? So she thought about that for a second, and she said, you're right. I've been finding that restaurants and automotive companies are a real sweet spot. I find that not only can I really help them, but I can actually get a chance to get in front of them and talk to the owner, talk to the decision maker. And compare that to when everybody tells me, hey, you got to go after the law firms, the big companies. But the problem is those lawyers are next to impossible to get in front of. Can you see how much more powerful restaurants and automotive companies with 10 to 30 employees who get paid once a week is a much better target market than businesses with 1 to 99 employees? And let's take that a step further. What if she decided that she would only target restaurants and automotive companies with weekly payroll and 10 to 30 employees? Do you think she could become the go-to expert for those niches? That she could get to know all their pains, all their problems, and how her company can help solve those problems better than any of her competitors? Do you think that she could really target her marketing and her sales presentations just for them by speaking their language rather than trying to be everything to everyone? Now, the second part of being everything to everyone and how to do a better job of that is coming up with a USP. What is your unique selling proposition? Now, we could do an entire webinar on developing a USP, and maybe we'll do that in the future. But for now, let's boil it down to this. Your USP answers the question that's always going through the mind of your prospects. Why should I choose to do business with you over any and every other option available to me, including doing nothing at all? Now, sometimes a USP is called a statement of benefit or a unique value proposition. You might also think of it as your differentiator. What makes you different from the competition? Now, here are a couple of USPs that you're no doubt familiar with. Fresh, hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, or it's free, guaranteed. When it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. Now, of course, you recognize these, Domino's Pizza and FedEx, right? And of course, these companies did spend millions and millions of dollars in advertising expressing their USP, but it doesn't change the fact that you still have to be able to express what makes your company different, what makes it unique, why should people do business with you? Okay, let's move on to Evergreen marketing strategy number 2, advertising awards and why they're worthless. Have you ever heard of the Clio Awards? Well, these are awards that are given out to the big Madison Avenue advertising agencies. If you're a fan of the TV show Mad Men, like I am, I'm a huge fan of that show. You might remember that Don Draper once won a Clio Award. He was very proud of himself. Of course, Peggy wasn't too happy because she felt like she did all the work while Don got all the credit. But what he got credit for was a clever commercial, not for results. And this type of advertising is known as brand, image, or institutional advertising. It's all about getting your name out there. I mean, how often do you hear that in your own business? You got to get your name out there. So what these big companies are trying to do is create name recognition. It's all about their logo and their company and their brand. But it's all show and no go. It's all, hey, look at us, look at our logo, look at how great we are. But there's really no go to it. There's nothing about the prospect and an action that the prospect can take to learn more about the company and how that company can help me solve my problems. Now, as a small business owner, you don't have the deep pockets to do this type of brand and image marketing. Unfortunately, though, most small businesses do end up trying to emulate what these big companies do, these big corporations. They try to get their name out there. They try to establish a brand and a name and a logo, or they just copy what everyone else in their industry is doing. And if you need proof of that, just open up your phone book, assuming you still have one, but find a phone book and open it up and look at any category. All the ads look the same. The company name and the logo is the biggest part of the ad. It's usually right at the top. Maybe they have a few bullet points about what they sell. They talk about how they're licensed and bonded, yada, yada, yada. So what should we as small business owners do instead? Well, we should use direct response marketing. We want to make some kind of offer that people can respond to, tell them how to respond, and what will happen when they do. We want to have an offer, a call to action, a deadline, and we want to be able to track and measure the results. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can use direct response marketing. One is to go directly for the sale in one step. That's a one-step marketing approach. So we make an offer for someone to buy something, and we give them a way to respond. Maybe it's come on into the store and buy it. Maybe it's go to this website and buy it. But it is a concrete offer that people can respond to. Now, the other option you have is to go for the lead only first, not try to make a sale right away. And that's called two-step marketing or two-step lead generation marketing. So the first step is just to get a prospect who might be interested and qualified to raise his hand and identify himself as a prospect. So you don't try to sell your product or service in that first step. All you're really trying to sell is some kind of free thing, what we like to call a lead magnet, so that a target prospect would find it interesting and exchange his contact information for that free thing. After that, you follow up, you sift and sort to see who's ready, willing, and able to buy right now. And those that aren't ready, willing, and able to buy right now, you nurture them with continuous follow-up until they are ready or until they go away. They might opt out of your list if you have an email list. They might ask you to stop communicating with them. But that's okay, because part of the process of this kind of marketing is not only to attract the right kind of prospects, but also to disqualify and repel the wrong kind of prospects that are just going to end up wasting your time. So that's where two-step lead generation, direct response marketing comes in. Now, one thing I want to make very clear, this does not mean that branding is non-existent for us as small business owners, but branding is a byproduct of your direct response marketing. It's not the goal. The goal is always to get some kind of response. So a pretty good rule of thumb is this. You should never spend any money on marketing or advertising whose purpose is solely to get your name out there or to get brand recognition. Okay, let's move on to marketing strategy number 3, the short copy myth. Let me ask you a question. Would you tell your best sales rep to stop talking after 100 words? Of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't do that yourself when you're in a sales situation. But what do people say? They say, you can't use long copy. No one is going to read all that stuff. Well, maybe people won't read it, but someone who's interested will read as much as they can get their hands on. Think about yourself. What is a topic that you're interested in, that you're truly passionate about? You will seek out as much information on that topic as you can find. You'll read, or you'll listen, or you'll watch a video, thousands and thousands of words on that topic. In fact, in our live meeting, one of our members, when we were talking about this, mentioned fly fishing. And it's a topic that he has a keen interest in. He'll read or listen to or watch hours and hours of detailed information about fly fishing. But if I came across an ad or a blog post or really anything about fly fishing, I wouldn't make it past the headline. I wouldn't spend even 5 seconds consuming any information about fly fishing because I don't care about it. So if someone is interested, they really want as much information as possible to make a smart decision, especially when there's money involved. They're going to have questions, they have concerns, they have objections, maybe they've been ripped off in the past. So they need to know everything they can. They want to know as much as they possibly can. And as marketers, what's important to understand is that we don't really care about the people who won't read our stuff. We only care about those who do. Now, one thing I want to make clear, you can use short copy to get people to raise their hands when you're doing two-step lead generation. And then you want to drive them to another medium where you can give them more information. Maybe it's going to a website where you really have unlimited space. Maybe you're going to put together a webinar or a teleseminar. You create a free report. You put out a CD or a video, a DVD. Maybe it's an email course that you drip out over 7 days. Maybe it's your actual sales presentation. But whatever it is, you want to use the long copy when you're really in a selling situation, when you've gotten a prospect in front of you who's demonstrated that he's interested. Now, one caveat here. This does not mean that you have to pad your copy and your sales presentations with a bunch of unnecessary filler. So you want to tell what you need to tell and no more. All right, let's talk about Evergreen marketing strategy number 4, the value of a good education. And no, I am not talking about college. I'm talking about educating your prospects and your customers. Now, what can you educate your prospects and your customers about? Well, you can educate them about your industry. What's going on in your industry that they need to know about? What can you share with them that are some of the insider secrets about your industry that they may not know? What are some of the sort of scams or sort of dirty little secrets in your industry that if you're the one to expose them, you're going to have a leg up on your competition? You can also educate about your company. What is it that your company is doing within your industry that is different, that stands out, that creates a benefit for your customers and your prospects? So educate them on what your company does, what it stands for, how you create unique solutions that really help out your customers. You can educate them about your products and services. If you have a particular product or service, how does it fill the need or solve a problem or heal a pain that your prospect has? A particular product that you have might be a perfect fit for whatever that's happening in their lives that you can help them with. So educate them about that product and why it's important, why they can benefit from it. You can even educate them about your offers. If you're making a particular offer that is a particular product or service, you can educate them about the offer itself. Why are you offering this product at this time, at this price? Or why are you offering it for a limited time? Why are you only accepting 10 new clients with this particular offer? If you educate them on why the offer itself is important, that can really go a long way towards getting more of a conversion, a higher conversion rate, and making more sales. And basically, you just want to educate them on all the wonderful things that you can do for them, all the benefits you can provide, all the problems that you can solve for them. Now, let me tell you a little story that really illustrates this point about educating your prospect. Back in the early 1900s, there was a company called Schlitz Beer. I'm sure you've heard of it. Now, at the time, Schlitz Beer was number 5 in the United States in market share for brewers. And so Schlitz was not happy with being 5th in the market. They wanted to have a much larger market share. So they hired the legendary ad man Claude Hopkins to help them out. And at the time, all the rage in beer advertising was all about purity. You know, all the big brewers were blasting the word pure in all their advertising. One company even bought a 2-page ad in a national newspaper just so they could make the word pure even bigger. Now, Hopkins knew that everyone boasting about their purity was really not going to make much of an impression on anyone, especially for Schlitz being at number 5. But he didn't really know much about beer. So he decided to take a tour of the Schlitz brewery. And what he saw was brewing tanks that were in secure glass rooms with special air filters. He saw that they were filtering their beer through white wood pulp. He saw men cleaning every pump carefully twice a day just to make sure the beer never got contaminated. He saw how every bottle was steam cleaned, not once, not twice, but 4 times by a special machine before it was filled with beer. He saw a special artisan well that was dug 4,000 feet deep to provide the cleanest, purest possible water. The people at Schlitz, they showed him the original mother yeast cell. All the yeast that they used to brew their beer came from this mother yeast cell. Now that yeast cell was a product of over 1,200 separate experiments designed to bring out the utmost flavor in Schlitz beer. Well, after this tour, Hopkins was absolutely amazed. He couldn't understand why Schlitz didn't tell the public about all the incredible steps that they had to go through to make sure that their beer was so pure, so good. And with such a wonderful, powerful story to tell, he couldn't understand why they merely tried to scream the word pure louder than all the other brewers. So he told Schlitz, hey, you should base your entire ad campaign educating beer drinkers about the specific processes and techniques that you use to create this pure, great-tasting beer. Well, they thought that he was nuts. They told him that all the brewers basically have the same process. That's just how beer is made, and no one else can make good beer any other way. But Hopkins pointed out how he and everyone else who toured the brewery was really amazed by this process, and that no other brewer had ever told that story before. And he said that when Schlitz told that story in their ads, beer drinkers would be amazed, and they would want to taste the results of such diligent brewing. So Schlitz eventually relented. Hopkins created the ads, and Schlitz went from 5th in market share to 2nd in a matter of months. Now after that, other brewers tried to copy this strategy, but by that point it was too late. It didn't have any credibility in the marketplace. They were seen simply as Me Too copycats. So, that's a great story, right? Now, how can you educate your customers and your prospects? Well, you can educate them directly in your marketing and advertising, just like Hopkins did with Schlitz. You can write a special report about your services. and give it away free to suspects and prospects. Make it informative. Teach the reader something that she would want to know in order to make a buying decision. But don't make it a hard sell. Don't make it a thinly disguised sales pitch. You could also offer it online in exchange for an email address, and then you can continue to educate through emails as a follow-up. You could also put on a free seminar or even a series of seminars. And this really helps build your credibility as an expert in your field. Now, again, you do want to keep it educational. You don't want it to be just a complete sales pitch. Of course, you can make an offer at the end of the seminar for people who want to take the next step and get more guidance from you. But offer to answer questions. Collect contact information of the people that attend the seminars and follow up with even more education, more value, and nurture those people that don't want to take advantage of what you have to offer right away. And of course, nowadays it's great because you can do this with virtual seminars, teleseminars, and webinars, kind of like what I'm doing right here. And a bonus benefit is that it really creates leverage for you because you can go from one-on-one marketing to one-to-many marketing. Again, it gives you leverage. It allows you to multiply yourself. So educating your prospects and your clients is one of the most powerful evergreen marketing strategies you can use. And I have to tell you, most of your competitors are simply not using this strategy. So I'm sure you can imagine how you can stand out and win more business by using it for yourself. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Evergreen marketing strategy number 5, why people don't buy. There are really only 3 reasons. 1, they don't want or need what you're selling. 2, they truly can't afford it. And 3, they simply don't believe you. Now, there's not a lot you can do about those first 2, but there's a whole lot you can do about the third one. So let's get into that. First thing you can do is use reason why selling and marketing. For example, if your prices are higher than most of your competitors in your space, well, tell your prospects why that's the case. Tell them about all the extra value that you provide that your competitors don't. By the same token, let's say your prices are lower than most people's. Now, I don't really recommend that, but in some cases, maybe that's a competitive advantage for you. But explain that. Tell them the reason why your prices are lower. Maybe you work out of your home so you don't have the overhead of an office. Maybe you just keep your expenses to the bare bones and you're able to pass along the savings to your customers. Perhaps somebody in purchasing screwed up and they bought too many widgets, and now you need to make room in your warehouse for some new products. And so you're offering a deal, but this is why. It's not just a deal because you're a nice guy. It's not a great deal because, hey, it's too good to be true. There's a real reason behind it. Now, what's important, though, is that you don't make stuff up. Whatever reason that you're using in your marketing, it's got to be the real reason. So tell them the truth. Don't make stuff up. You know, customers also want proof of your claims. And one of the best ways to prove what you're claiming is by removing the risk of buying. Best way to do that, providing an ironclad guarantee. Now, that has to be ironclad in the eyes of your potential customer. And one of the great things about guarantees is that not only can you guarantee what you're providing or what you're offering, you can even guarantee to protect the buyer from his own mistake. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you know, the fact is, if you fail to deliver on your promises, obviously you're going to honor your guarantee. But you could say something like this. Hey, if we don't do everything we say we're going to do, or even if you feel this is not right for you for any reason, or even for no reason at all, you can return this for a full, no-hassle refund. So combining the two is a very powerful strategy. So I want to give you some tips on guarantees because this is a pretty in-depth topic, and I want to give you some more meat on it. So number 1 is to name your guarantee. Give it a name. Don't simply say you have a guarantee or a money-back guarantee. And I'll give you a quick example. I have a guarantee for members who sign up for this group, Marketing Masters ABQ, and my guarantee is this: 100% money back, 10 times the value, total satisfaction guarantee. So I give it a name, and I also explain that, listen, my aim is to give you 10 times the value of your investment. If I don't do that and you're not totally satisfied, then absolutely I'll give you your money back. Another thing you can do is make the guarantee longer, a longer period of time than the standard. Quick example on this, one of the marketers that I follow, his name is Craig Garber. A couple years ago, he came out with a book, a marketing book. And this was not your average 120-page, paperback from the bookstore. This is about a 300-page, 8.5 by 11 marketing manual, a Bible, if you will. So he was selling this, and for this type of product, the standard guarantee is 30 days money back. Buy my book, check it out for 30 days. If you don't think it's worth everything I say it is, return it for a full refund. So what Craig decided to do was to guarantee his book for life. So literally, if I wanted to, and I did buy his book 2 or 3 years ago, I could send it back to him right now and get my $99 back because he has a lifetime guarantee. But here's the thing about making the guarantee longer. The longer people have to do something, the greater is the likelihood that they will forget to do it. So it's a very powerful strategy. Another thing you can do is offer a free trial. Offer to let the customer experience or use your product before they even have to pay for it. This is sometimes known in sales circles as the puppy dog close. I'm sure you've all heard that term. So you could offer a free trial. We did this with our Small Biz Select membership. It was a $1 trial. It was $1 for the first month, but it did allow our customers, our members, to try out what we were offering for 30 days before they had to pay any real money. So that is a strategy that works very well. If you can figure out a way to implement that in your business, I definitely recommend that. Now, here's the bottom line on guarantees. Here's where people are a little bit fearful of them. They're scared they're going to get ripped off. They're scared that if they offer a strong guarantee, people are going to take advantage of it and they're going to be giving out tons of refunds. But really, a guarantee is not for that unscrupulous buyer who is out to rip you off. If somebody wants to rip you off, they're going to figure out a way. The guarantee is really there for the genuine, honest prospect who just needs a little extra reassurance to get him off the fence and make the buying decision that he really wants to make anyway. So that's really what it's for. It produces more sales on the front end, and this fear of having to give away a lot of refunds, what we find is that typically that just doesn't happen and it's not an issue. And even if you do have to give out a couple of refunds, the extra sales that you get because of people that felt reassured that you were taking away their risk, that's more than going to make up for any refunds that you have to give out. So one thing I hear often is, well, that sounds great, Rick, but I can't really offer a money-back guarantee. It's just not something I can do. But there's always something in your offer that you can guarantee. Maybe you can guarantee a fast response time, or you can guarantee the ability to contact you after hours on a special hotline if they have a problem. So think about what weaknesses that other companies in your industry have, or something that normally goes on in your industry that people hate, and figure out a way that you can guarantee that you won't do that thing. And this can create a tremendous competitive advantage. Okay, so 5 down, 2 to go. Let's move on to Evergreen marketing strategy number 6, how to sweeten the deal. Well, one way you can do that is to offer a bonus or an ethical bribe. Ethical being the key word here. I'm not talking about what happens in Washington, D.C. or Santa Fe. Ethical bribe. So there's 2 reasons you would want to do this. Number 1, it increases the prospect's perceived value of the entire offer, the deal. And it also can give you a competitive advantage. If you have something identical or similar to what a competitor offers, but you have a bonus attached to yours, that can make the difference in winning that business versus a competitor. Now, one thing you want to do is to either make the bonus related to what they're buying or make it something that has wide appeal. And that could be a coffee card or movie tickets or something else that nearly anyone could enjoy and value. But generally, it's better if it's related to what you're selling. For example, let's say you're a dog groomer. you could offer a bonus of a free bag of dog treats with every haircut. In fact, when people join this group, Marketing Masters ABQ, I offer a choice of one of 4 different free bonus gifts, and they're all related to marketing. They all enhance in some way what I'm teaching in this group. Now, if I offered a booklet about building model airplanes as a bonus, that wouldn't make much sense, would it? It really wouldn't add any value to what I'm offering. Now, the next tip is always put a dollar value on the bonus. Make them understand this is not just some worthless throw-in. It's a real thing with real value. Because if they don't perceive a true value to the bonus, they really won't see it as an incentive to buy what you're offering. Now, I think one of the best types of bonuses is information. Information is a great bonus. You can add tremendous value with information, and the cost is next to nothing. And you can literally do this in any business. Now, to wrap this up, I want to give you a really powerful combo strategy. And that is that you offer a guarantee and a bonus. And the deal is that even if they return the item that you're guaranteeing, they get to keep the bonus for free just for giving it a try. That is powerful. Okay, guys, we're into the home stretch here. Evergreen marketing strategy number 7. How to increase your profits by 500%. Well, you know, it costs at least 5 times more to acquire a new customer as it does to keep the ones that you have. And yet, most businesses spend the majority of their time and money trying to get new customers, and they don't focus on taking care of the customers that they already have. So let's talk a little bit about why customers and clients leave. Well, you have attrition. That's just a fact of life in any business. Some people that buy from you are going to go away. But let's take a look about why. Why do they leave? Well, out of 100 customers who stop doing business with you, 4 of them move away. They move out of your market area. They're not a client for you anymore. 15 of them are doing business with a friend or relative who's in your space, or they're otherwise lured away by a competitor. Another 15 are not happy with the product they bought, but they might not ever tell you about their dissatisfaction. So that's a total of 34. And in most cases, there's really not much you can do to salvage those 34. But what about the other 66? They didn't leave because of something you did. They're really not even dissatisfied with you or your company. They left because they thought you didn't care about them. You didn't make them feel special. So obviously the key is to treat all your customers like they're special. Well, how do you do that? There's several different strategies. First thing that comes to mind is under-promise and over-deliver. You know, sometimes it's all about setting expectations and then exceeding those expectations. For example, if you're going to prepare a quote or a proposal for someone, even if you know you can get it done within 1 day, promise that you'll deliver it within 2 days. So then when you come in the next day with it, you've exceeded expectations. You've under-promised and over-delivered. I do newsletters for clients, and one of my guarantees is that I will turn around the newsletter within 3 business days from the time I receive that client's personal story. But I almost always turn it around within 1 or 2 business days, and people appreciate that. Create an experience. You want to make it easy, convenient, and fun to do business with you. Create an experience they can't forget. So take a hard look at everything you're doing in your business and figure out, how can I deliver an experience that my customers won't or can't get from anyone else? Okay, this is a strategy that you probably have not heard about before, but it is powerful, and it's called the stick letter. And what you do is you send a letter to someone in the mail after they made a purchase. Because, you know, it's human nature to be excited when we buy something we want, right? I mean, we get that buyer's euphoria. But unfortunately, it's also human nature to have some doubts creep in. Did I make the right decision? Do I really even need that thing? Do I even want it? Should I have spent that money? course, it's also known as buyer's remorse. So a stick letter is something that you mail right after someone buys, and it's called a stick letter because it's a tool that will help make the sale stick and reduce those returns and refunds. And one thing it's designed to do is simply to thank your client for trusting you enough to invest in you. And even just sending a thank you is going to differentiate you from most of your competitors. So let's take a look at an example of a stick letter. This is something I use in my business when I get a new marketing consulting client or a newsletter member. Now, I know you probably can't read this. I'll give you a quick rundown on it, okay? First of all, I attach a real $1 bill to the top of the letter. Now, not an old dirty one that I pull out of my wallet either. This is a crisp new bill from the bank. In fact, I have a stack of them in my desk drawer right now. Now, why do I do this? Well, first of all, it grabs their attention immediately. Do you think anyone else is sending them something with real money attached to it? Now, as I mentioned earlier, the real reason is to thank her for trusting me and doing business with me. But next, I want to reassure her that she's made a wise decision. I want to reinforce what she bought and why she bought it and why I'm committed to doing the best job I can for her. Now then, I restate all the bonuses that she got when she signed up, and I encourage her to actually consume those bonuses. Then, next, I reveal that I've included an additional unannounced bonus gift. And finally, I bring the letter back around to why I attach that dollar bill to the top of the letter. And I tell her, hey, you can do anything you want with this. Give it to charity, buy a cup of coffee, well, very small cup of coffee. But what I really hope you'll do with this is frame it and put it on your wall. And that way, when someone asks you about it, you can say, oh, that's the first dollar I ever made after Rick G started helping me with my marketing. And since then, I've made thousands more. So a quick story. One time when I sent one of these stick letters to a new client, I just happened to see him at a meeting on the very day that my stick letter arrived in his mailbox. And he came right up to me and he said, hey, Rick, I got your letter. And then he pulled a crisp $1 bill right out of his shirt pocket. Okay. The next strategy is to send a monthly newsletter in the mail. Yes, printed and mailed. And this is a great way to keep in touch with your customers and your clients, your warm prospects, your referral partners, JV partners on a regular, frequent basis in an impactful, personal way. And I know what you're thinking. I hear this a lot. Doesn't that cost a lot of money to print and mail all those newsletters? Well, yes, in a way, there is a cost associated with it. But just like anything else in marketing, anything else in your business, it's really an investment. So here are a couple of newsletters. The one on the left is my own personal newsletter. And if you're watching this, you probably already get this in the mail from me. Now, I also do newsletters for clients. And you can see an example of one on the right, Greg McNeil's Coach's Chronicle. And in fact, I have clients paying me anywhere from $97 to $497 a month every month to produce a newsletter for them. And that doesn't even include the printing and mailing. That's just for the service that I provide. Now, why would my clients spend this money to send our clients and prospects a newsletter every month? Well, the simple reason is we know our numbers. We know how much a client is worth to us over a lifetime. And we know that the hardest, most expensive sale that we'll ever make is the first sale to a new client. And so we also know that the longer we can keep our clients, the more we'll be able to help them and the more profitable we'll be. And a monthly customer newsletter is one of the best tools you can ever use to make that the case for your business. Now, I'm not here to pitch you my services at all, but I do believe that every one of you should be using a printed and mailed newsletter strategy, whether I do it for you or you do it yourself or you have somebody else do it for you. So if you haven't read my 7 Newsletter Secrets free report, you can get access to this at 7newslettersecrets.com, and you'll learn a ton about newsletters and what they can do for your business, a lot more than I have time to cover here. Okay, one more strategy, an unannounced bonus gift. Now, I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about the stick letter. You could include the extra bonus with the stick letter. You could mention in the letter that you have another gift for them and you're going to send it separately. Or you can just send it later on down the road and have it be a complete surprise. But anytime you can add value by giving them something extra that you didn't even tell them about when they purchased is really going to be something that they notice, because, again, nobody else is doing this. So one final strategy here, Evergreen strategy number 7, how to increase your profits by 500%. Create some kind of VIP club. This is for your best clients and customers. You're probably familiar with Pareto's principle, probably better known as the 80-20 rule, which states that 80% of your profits come from 20% of your customers. So identify who those 20% customers are and offer them something extra that you don't give to everyone else. Maybe it's some kind of extra benefits or a special hotline they can call, special offers, events that you do or that are just for your VIPs. And you can even take this to the next level by identifying the top 20% of the 20% or the top 4% of your customers and create even more special VI treatment for them. Okay, well, there you have it. 7 evergreen marketing strategies that any business can benefit from. And this is the time in our live meetings where we break up into small groups and we brainstorm what we covered so that we can identify, each of us, one or more strategies that we're going to take action on and implement in our businesses within the next 30 days. Now, we can't do that here on a webinar, obviously, but what you can do is sit down with your action guide and a notebook and think about which strategies that you've learned today that you're going to implement in your business. And maybe even there's someone else in your company that you can sit down and brainstorm with, or a colleague in this group, or just anybody else you know that you can brainstorm with. And remember, none of these strategies work unless you take action. So take some action. Okay. So just a few quick announcements. Right now I am working on building a members-only website for you guys, and you'll have access to this monthly webinar training that you're watching right now. You'll have a PDF of the Marketing Masters Action Guide so you can take notes, plan what you're going to implement. You'll have access to Fireman Mike's Insider Secrets of Internet Marketing for local businesses. And yes, I will on occasion just throw you something extra that you weren't expecting that I don't announce ahead of time. I'll give you an extra bonus. If I come across something that I think can help you, I'll add it to the site. Also creating the vault. So this, all of these benefits in the membership area will build up over time. So all the content will be available to you that you can access at your leisure. You'll have access to it really anytime that you want. Okay, another announcement. I don't have this formalized yet, but I wanted to put it out there, get you thinking about it. I am creating a Marketing Masters referral rewards program because I do want to grow this group. I want to get more people in our live lunch meetings. I want to get more people on these webinars. And so if you refer 2 other business owners who become members of Marketing Masters ABQ, you'll get your membership for free. Now, this does apply to new members. I also offer an option to just buy a ticket one time for one lunch event. So this is for membership. We want to build up the membership. There's a lot of extra benefits to membership that you don't get if you buy a one-time ticket. So, and I feel the best way to grow the group is for you guys who are already members and getting value out of this to recommend it to other entrepreneurs that you know and that you network with. Now, what if you refer more than 2 members? Well, that will earn you extra credits toward future free months. So if you eventually refer 4 members, you're going to have your membership for free, and then you're also going to have credits in the future to apply those other 2 members that you referred. And like I said, the more we can grow the group, the more valuable our brainstorming will be, the more joint venture and strategic alliance opportunities we'll have, and really the more fun it'll be. And really, I'd rather give away, I'd rather give every one of you your membership for free than spend time and money trying to recruit new members in any other way that costs me time and money. So this is the webinar, but I do encourage you to attend the live meetings. And what you want to do is make a recurring appointment in your calendar. It's the third Wednesday of every month at 11:15 a.m. to 1 p.m. And right now, as of this recording, we are meeting at Lynn's Grand Buffet on Montgomery, just west of San Mateo. And there you have access to everything, the buffet, the Mongolian grill, the sushi bar, the ice cream cone station. So that's what we're doing now. Who knows, at some point we could change the venue, but it's a great location. It's easy to get to, and they have a lot of options for lunch. So what you get when you come to the live meeting is you get the free lunch. You get an opportunity to network with the other members, the other people in the room. We have a lot of lively discussion and interaction during the meeting. We do those small group breakout sessions so that we can brainstorm about what we're going to implement. And then typically I will stay behind after 1 o'clock if you want to stick around. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Now, one last thing before we wrap this up, I'd really like to get your feedback. Can you help me out with that? I really want to know what you're getting out of this, what I can improve. I always want to continue to strive to deliver more and more value as we go forward. So if you will go to the link that you see right here, this is a surveymonkey.com survey. It's an online survey tool. There's just a few brief questions, take you just a couple of minutes. And I want to get your feedback, like I said, because it's important to me. It's important to me to know what you're getting out of this and what I can do better. And I do want to offer you an ethical bribe for investing your time in taking this survey. So if you do complete the survey, I will send you a copy of my stick letter that I showed you earlier, and you can model that for use in your own business. Now, don't steal it verbatim, of course, but you can adopt it and adapt it for your own situation. So I hope to see you at the next live lunch meeting on the third Wednesday of the month. And if not, I will talk to you next month right here on the webinar. Now go make it a profitable day.